Hey, good morning, Las Vegas. Thank you for joining us again here on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show where we talk about all things involved in real estate happening here in Las Vegas, straight from the professionals. Over the last couple of weeks, you guys have not seen us live here, and we've been airing some of our old, some of our popular episodes that we recorded in the past. So welcome back. We are here again. We are doing a live show today. So thank you so much for joining us. If you are following the show, please download, follow, share with your friends, like, comment, leave us a review. The reviews really help us to show the content that we are going to be having on future shows. Today on our show, we have a guest with us, a returning guest. He is in property management, Mark Lister, the Rentallister. Mark, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, yeah, I'm Mark, the Rentallister. So there's a lot of property managers, but I'm only one of those born for this business. I've been doing this for 22 years. And my claim to fame is several. I was totally unaffected by the COVID, the eviction moratorium, and only been to eviction court 8 times in 22 years.
Wow, that is amazing. And that is definitely a good quality that you want in a property manager, because nobody wants to be in eviction court, right?
No. Well, especially me. It's not where you get your best deal. It's better to work things out with a tenant and work something out where it works for everybody versus an eviction, you know.
Great. Great. We're going to talk a lot about property management today. One of the things why I thought it was important to talk about this show and to bring you back to the show and talk about property management some more is because in the sales world of real estate, in the retail world, I am getting a lot of people calling that want to invest in real estate. Obviously, everybody knows rent prices are really high right now. Investing in real estate seems like it makes sense, and people are seeing that it is a form of passive income. So a lot of people are wanting to review and look at their options to go down that avenue. And with that, talking about property management is going to be a very important topic. Do you agree?
Totally agree.
Okay.
My favorite subject.
Your favorite subject. I know this, and that's why I thought you would be the perfect person to have on the show. So before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about stats, statistics, numbers, what's going on in the real estate market. It's only been 2 weeks since I've been here on the show, since I've had a live show, and over the last 2 weeks, we've had some changes. So, welcome to Vegas. So we have had, we were hovering around 1,800 to 1,900 in inventory on the last show that we recorded, and now we're up to 2,133. It's not a high number. No, it's still a very, very low number, but it's
still below our normal, what we should really have for a normal market, right?
Yeah, I believe that number should be 6,500.
Yeah.
So yeah. We're substantially below, but the number is creeping up a little bit, and I've been seeing it creeping up, you know, by 50 to 100. It seems like every week. So that's that may be a silver lining for buyers that are shopping out there. One thing that I did see in reviewing numbers and stats recently is there is a very small percentage of FHA buyers that have, you know, been getting their contracts accepted. So the sales that are out there, you know, very small percentage of FHA buyer sales, which is just an indicator that they're struggling. They're getting beat out. These cash and conventional buyers, especially the cash buyers, are the ones winning the offers.
Yeah.
So first-time home buyers are still struggling a lot. So seeing that inventory number increase a little bit is very hopeful for them. The other thing, 275 price reductions. Again, that's not a big number, but it is definitely, showing that there are some adjustments that are being made on properties that are overpriced.
Right, yeah, because it's overpriced.
Yeah. That's really the only reason for a price reduction. I mean, some sellers watch the news and they say, "Oh, I know my market value is $500,000, but let's list it $6,"
Because mine's so much better than theirs.
Mine's so much better than theirs, or the news said I could list it, or people are paying $100,000 over. And please just trust your realtors. We want to get the most money for your home. We definitely want to get the best price for your home, but we also need to be realistic when pricing. So just trust your realtors when we're going over those numbers with you. Total sales in March were 4,496. So that was up from February, which was 3447. So our sales numbers are increasing a little bit, which is a good sign that we're getting more inventory. So the reason why our sales numbers have been down so much is because we had no inventory. You can't
Right.
sell homes if you don't have homes to sell.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't sell a virtual house, right?
Well, you can. There's a market for that now, believe it or not. I don't know how that
It's got to
works.
physically be a house you got to sell, though.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I heard something interesting, which brings us into this property management and owning real estate as an investment. I heard something interesting the other day that, investors, because of inflation and the dollar, the value of the dollar is decreasing. We all know that. Parking your funds and your money, your cash, your savings in real estate actually is a way of protecting that investment.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of owners that sometimes, they see the market going up and they think it's going to crash. Says, okay, I want to sell my rental house. Says, okay, what are you going to do with the money if you sell the house? And they don't really think that over very well. And I says, well, what are you going to put? You can't put it in the bank because you make 1%. If you put it in the stock market, well, it goes up and down. Who knows what it's going to do? If you leave it in real estate, it's just going to continue to do what it's doing. And another thing, let's play the game. Let's just say that the market doesn't go up anymore. Well, there's other part of the market if you have a rental property, and that's the rents, and the rents continue to go up. And if you look at how much they're going up, and you times that over 10 years, it's a significant amount of money.
Right.
So I would say, and then some of the other advantages, tax advantages. See a tax professional for that, but you don't get that on the stock market. You don't get it some of the other investments. You get that on real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I heard that I just kind of turned on the light in my head, I guess, is a lot, for these like banks, say Bank of America, I'm just going to throw it out there, stocks in Bank of America. Will they give you a loan to purchase their stocks?
No.
Will anybody give you a loan to purchase their stocks?
I think you pretty much get a blank stare on that one.
Yeah, okay. However, you will get a loan to purchase a home. You can't get a
even though
loan.
interest rates have gone up, they're still at 4.5%, even 5%. This is still a pretty good rate.
Right.
So,
but the fact that a financial institution would not give you a loan to purchase their own stocks, but they will give you a loan to purchase real estate, just proves that it's a tangible asset, and they know that there's something they can use as collateral to retain their money in case you didn't pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing too, a lot of people look at the bust and they use that as a comparison. But one of the things to keep in mind is back then we had a lot of rental properties, even before it went bust. And of course, when it went bust, we got even more. We're not that right now. You talk about inventory levels. We're somewhere about 1,700, right around that range. It's been a few days since I checked it, but last time I checked, around 17. That's everything: condos, townhouses, anything you get on the MLS. That's it. And our normal market should be around 6,000. So we're under. Wow. And as the closer we get to summer, I see that number going down and down. We've already seen that. I mean, it started the year around about 2,100, and now we're down to 17. And probably very quickly we'll get down to 16. Then you look at houses, the actual single family houses was around about 1,200. Okay, so it's not very many. This is valley wide. So as the inventory goes down, the prices are going to tend to go up. And right. With all the people moving here, even if you add your numbers, 2,100 on sales and then 1,700 on rental properties, and you look at 5,000 people moving in, the math doesn't add up.
Right.
So so getting into a rental property and looking at where the rents are going to increase. And what I tell owners is sometimes if we can't get it right now, wait another year and we should be able to get there the way things are going right now. And we got, to get up to normal levels, we'd have to bring in, around 4,000 more rental properties to get on the market. I don't see that happening. Right. Not with the sale prices the way they are. There are a lot that are going in. There's some big companies that are buying investment properties. But for the little guy, if they can get in, I think good things are going to happen for them.
Yeah, most definitely. It's passive income. You're making money every month on the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back for the profit, when people are looking at the profit that they're going to make on a rental, and what they're going to make, of course, as with people do this with sales all the time. They say, well, I'll make more money if I don't hire a realtor and I sell my home myself. Or some people do it with court. I make more money if I don't hire a lawyer and I represent myself. Now, true professionals know that's not the case. You usually lose money in that instance. And the same applies to property management, correct?
I think even more so on property management. Because one thing in property management, as I always tell people, is there's a lot of landmines in property management. So there's a lot of little things that we should be doing that a lot of times a self-manager doesn't know to do, doesn't have the time to do. So one of the things is you can start with doing an application, okay? Do they actually go through an application with a tenant? I find a lot just do the like test. Well, you look nice, you must be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That gets you far.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have a story to that. Years ago, I showed a nice little old lady. She worked for years at the Luxor, and everything, your initial impression was this would be a good tenant. But as a professional, got to do all the things we are being paid to do. So the only thing I couldn't get was a rental reference. We had everything else. So I stayed late at night at the office and kept calling and got a hold of the landlord. And when I mentioned the lady's name, she says, you got to be kidding me. You're going to rent to her? She's the worst tenant. She did $10,000 worth of damage, and I want her number and her address so I can chase after her. And all I heard was, whew, and that was a bullet I just dodged.
Wow.
Okay? So, yeah, that's... If we don't check it, I don't know how good they are until I know how good they are.
Right.
So it's important to at least do that, to check them out. And then, but you also have where they don't do enough and then they go too far. So I've seen some where they want a 750 FICO score. Okay. Well, if you look at it like this, let's say there's two. You have two tenants. One's at 810, another one's at 625. Which one's the better tenant?
Right. A lot of people would say 810 because they have great credit. However, I know the answer to this, so I'm going to let you. The answer is 625.
Why?
Because they're going to stay longer.
Yeah.
810, they can purchase a home.
They're going to buy a house.
They're there temporarily. They can buy a home. They're going to be in your rental temporarily. You don't want to have that turnover every year.
And the reason you don't want the turnover is the cost of tenant turnover is between $2,000 to $5,000. So if the tenant stays 2, 3, 4 years, that $2,000 to $5,000 stayed right in your pocket.
Correct.
Okay. So, and if you look at that, that covers a lot of repairs. It covers a lot of things that you now have money to go and do. And now here's where a property manager comes in, a good one. Okay, is now if you go to the discounters, you're not paying them to do anything, so they're not going to do a lot of these things. So you want to get a good property manager, pay the extra fee because it's going to make you more money in the long run. So the first thing I'm going to do is, after the year expire or 90 days prior, I'm going to visit the house, and then we're going to talk about once we verify that they are taking care of the house, they're not running herd of cats out of the place. That now we're talking about lease renewal. Okay. Yeah. And I already have a built-in rent increase if it becomes month to month. So they want to be at that number. So any number I come is going to be less. So I get an extra 100, 200, which my owners have makes the ultimate decision. Yes, we'll accept that. Almost always they do because they're no longer going to make more money. So the property continues to make more money as they're saving that $2,000 to $5,000. So that's
Correct.
Good management.
Yeah, that is good management. And one thing you mentioned is something that is not to be overlooked. Hoarders. I mean, they exist. They're out there.
Yeah.
And you can have someone staying in their property for years and have no idea what is going on within those walls, where that coming in doing that checkup right before the lease is up is, I'm sure, very preventative for that.
I like a little bit of hoarding because the way I look at a house is this, you know why you have the 2-car garage?
Yeah.
Because the 2-car garage stores a lot of stuff. And you can kind of tell when you first move in, you can get both cars in the garage.
Correct.
Okay. And into the second and third year, you can only get 1 car in the garage. And into the 5th year or more, you can't get any cars in the garage because there's so much stuff in that garage.
Right.
So, which means to me that they stay longer because the more stuff they got, the more they got to move. And the chances are the matching moving is not very good. Another thing that a single family, what makes it such a great rental property, it makes a good rental investment, is that the families move in, kids go into schools, okay, and now they have a hard time moving out of that neighborhood because they can't take the kids out of the schools.
Yeah.
So I get to keep them 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and so now we keep the same tenant, we can steadily increase the rents, and tenant turnover costs stay down to a very, very minimum. Most of my tenants stay 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Wow.
Okay, so it makes the owners more money in the long run. Because, you know, I have a lot of owners that want to save money, but that's the way to save money is over tenant turnover.
Correct. Yeah. And if you're self-managing and you're not doing a good job, or even, you know, there's customer service that needs to be provided to the tenant as well.
Yes.
If the tenant, every time they call their landlord, no one responds, or they go 3 days with a broken AC and no one does anything about it and no one's returning their calls, they're not going to want to stay there after the lease is up either. So that actually has customer service to the tenant has an impact in how long they're going to stay in that property and that overall cost.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
It's very important. And one of the things that we specialize is on-time maintenance. So as soon as that maintenance, we have a system where they can email it in. And so it comes to us, and then myself or my assistant jumps on it like, you know what, we're all over it. Because the quicker we get on it, quicker we get it assigned, quicker it gets fixed, the more happy that they are. Now, once you've done that in a year's time, because a lot of owners like to, well, you know, find someone that you like to go get it fixed. That's not good, okay? Or, well, we're going to charge you extra to do that. That's not good either. My approach is do this. Do really good maintenance, get it done quickly. Now you have the right to ask for more money at the end of the year, okay? Because we've earned it. We're not taking it, we're earning it. And I've had more tenants say, yeah, we're really happy with the maintenance you're providing, so we're happy to do that. Because a lot of tenants, the reason why they are renting is they want the landlord to fix the property.
Yes, they don't want to deal with it.
That's correct.
They don't want to deal with the repairs. And another thing that I know that you do, which I think is brilliant that you do this, because owners have no idea how much this can save them cost on repairs. AC filters. Tell us a little bit about that.
We have a service that tenants pay $10 a month. They don't have a choice. When they get accepted at a property, they're taking that as an expense. So $10 a month, every 90 days they come out and change out the filter. And preferably we want them to go in and physically change it themselves. If they're not there, they'll leave it on the porch, but we're trying to curb that. We want to make sure that they are there so we can physically change it, make sure it gets done.
Right.
Okay, and so yes, it's absolutely very important to get those changed, especially in the summertime when it's running all the time, because it's going to cost them more money, and it's more money for the owners, okay, because AC repairs can get real expensive.
Yeah.
And if you have an older unit, you can't even get the parts for them anymore. So when they go bad, now you got to replace the whole thing. You're looking $4,000 plus.
Yeah, and those filters, there's so many issues that can happen with the AC that are based solely upon the filters not being changed.
Yeah.
So that is a great thing. That is, I see that as a protection, a level of protection you're offering to the owners, and it's costing the tenants $10 a month. I don't see anybody having a dispute with
We're
that.
saving money for the owner at no cost.
Yeah.
So it works really, really well.
Yeah.
And most tenants really like it. I have very few complaints. Once said, can we do it ourselves? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
This is the way we do it. And they just go right along with it.
Yeah, no, and that is, you know, the tenants always say, yeah, I'll change the filters, and they always agree to it, but then you go and you see the house and that filter hasn't been changed for the past 2 years. I've seen that many times.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. grimy mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that is great. What are some of the other services that you do?
Well, I have a whole laundry list here,
I-
and we can always email this to any owner. I always do it. And the reason why I came up with this list is because I'm saying the same thing over and over again. And I get frustrated that it's on my website, all these as well, because when I started on my own, I looked at the competition to see what their websites were saying, and it said pretty much, all of them said the same thing. We find the tenant, we collect the rents, we do the maintenance. The same one said the same thing over and over and over again, even my last company. And I said, God, we do so much more than that.
Yeah.
And so I just came up with this list, and it's not a complete list, but it's actually 2 pages long here. So property accounting and reporting, very important. Okay, self-manager, when it comes time to do the taxes, they're going to hand the accountant a box full of receipts. Okay, with us, it's all computerized. They get a 1099 and they get a cash flow statement. They hand that to the accountant, and they're going to love it. The other great thing is that our memories always fade. People ask me, well, didn't we just replace the hot water heater, which I can't remember over 80 properties. It's just not possible. I can remember every single one. That's why we have a system where I can easily go look it up. No, it wasn't. It was the garbage disposal that replaced 3 months ago. Hot water heater we haven't replaced. And a hot water heater, we actually have an inspection service that the owners can approve. And they sometimes will find the fittings where there's signs of moisture. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, if the hot water heater is over 8 years old, there's no sense of fixing it. It's time to replace it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's going to go out any day, and then it's going to cause water damage when it goes out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's better to be proactive, and let's change it now before it creates more damage.
Absolutely.
And the reason why we got into this is years ago, we had one where, of course, what do they do around hot water heaters? They put all kinds of stuff around it. Then when something happens, you can't tell. And this case here, a bunch of mold had built up around it. Oh. Fortunately, I was able to get the insurance to cover it, but they almost didn't. Because insurance, to make an insurance claim, it has to be sudden and immediate. Well, if it's been going for a few weeks to a month, they're not going to cover it. And that's big money. That's very expensive. That can cost you $8,000. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, that means that as a property manager, I look at, well, I'm not doing my job if we allow the owner to be in that position. So we got to get inspection so the inspector can come and tell us that, hey, you may have a problem later down the road. And so when it comes to hot water heaters, only last about 8 years. If you get 8, 9 years, you got your money's worth out of them. So to me, it's time to replace it. Then we can do the upgrades, the fittings, and all those other kinds of things. And then we're good. We're good for 8 years. And we have a little bit of time to do it because it's not leaking right now. Okay, right. So that's important. Maintenance and repairs is we've already discussed that, so that's important. Our owners have an online portal. Okay, so they can get leases and management agreements. They can always call me, but they don't have to come chase me down and get it right on their portal. Perfect. Tenants have a portal as well, so they can pay rent online. And this has been a real game changer. I've been doing this for 22 years. So when I started, it was everybody bringing the rents to the office. And you have long lines, and then, and part of the line was people with excuses. Okay, and and then you can start seeing the excuses change as they heard the last one. Okay,
oh my goodness,
my car broke down, my wife's pregnant, my dog needs braces, one after another. Why they can't pay rent or the full rent? Well, when we went to online payments, all that stuff went away, and I have about a 99% on time payment history with my tenants month after month.
That's great.
We only have maybe one that doesn't pay rent. And that's easy for us to jump on that one and get them to pay or do a notice if we have to and get them right back in line. But we got the quality versus before we'd have to run down 10, 15, 20 people. And, after the first week, once you collected all the rents and figure out, okay, who's late. So we could find out who hasn't paid very, very quickly and get it and start working to get that one taken care of.
Right.
So it's been a real game changer. So do-it-yourselfers do that? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but definitely we do that, and it makes a big difference. Online applications, that one's really important. You wouldn't think so, but here's a biggie. I can read it. It's all typed in.
Oh,
versus trying to read someone's writing, and mine's bad writing, so I totally understand. Okay, so and plus with the online, of course, we'll get frustrated. I know I do when you have to fill these things online because you miss something and you have to fill it out before you can move on. But that's a good thing too, because now I have all the squares, all the
they can't
boxes.
skip over the questions they don't like.
They can't skip over it.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. So we get a complete application that we can read, and now we can do a very thorough evaluation whether this is going to make a good tenant or not.
Okay. Yeah.
So love the online applications. Evictions. So if a self-manager doesn't sell, ones that want to be self-managers, first thing I tell them is, okay, I'm your tenant and I'm refusing to pay rent. Now what?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we going to do?
I've had sellers, people that want to sell their homes that are in those situations because they've been managing it for so many years on their own, and now they can't get the tenant out and they want to sell. And I've called you, I think, a couple times for some help or resources on this because they don't know what to do. And sometimes they're out of state. How are they going to handle going to court? They got to come here. I mean, there's a lot of, you don't think about how difficult that could be until you're in the situation.
Yes, yes. And what I like to do is, when it gets on the 4th, we want to send a notice out because time is of the essence. It used to take us about 3 weeks, but due to the COVID, there's still a backlog. And the last one I just did took over a month, about 35 days to get it done. So we have to do it very quickly because the longer you wait, the more it's going to take. You want to try and get done at least before the end of the month because, for your deposits, you don't run out of deposit money to cover the rent. And so, and I use a server. If you just do it yourself and you post it on the door and they take you to court, okay, so the judge looks at you and says, pay or quit, and landlord says yes, looks at the tenant and says, I never got the notice. Okay, and we counter that, well, here's the server, here's the way we did this, so we can absolutely prove that we did it. Ends that argument right then and there. If you can't win that argument, guess what? You're kicked out. You got to start all over again. So, you've already lost 30 days. Now it's another 30 days. Okay. So if the average rent is $2,000 a month and you've already lost $2,000 and now you're going to lose $4,000, where's the savings? Exactly. Because you look about what I'm costing, say 120, 150, 160. If you add that up, okay, you save money without having to do the work. Yeah. Okay. You're not getting a call at midnight. Not getting a call at midnight. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I don't do too much either because I have a system set up to where they can do it all right online. And we get it taken care of. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, let's be honest. I mean, a plumber's not going to come out at midnight. It can put in a service request. It'll be addressed in the morning. Someone will look at it in the morning. But yeah, if you're self-managing, you're going to get that call from your tenant in the middle of the night. Well, here's another one too. That brings a good point is where it's most important is if you have water leaks. Okay, if you have a water event, then this one's most important to get on someone. You get someone on it right away. Get the water to stop, number one, and then get someone out there to start doing the dry out. Now I have people that actually can go the wee hours of the morning. I have companies already set up to do that because time is of the essence. And this is where I've seen many self-managers flounder because they don't know what to do. We were just one recently in a condo where they had a massive water leak and it went into other condos. Now ours we got taken care of, but my guy went upstairs where the source was and they said, yeah, it's covered. We got it dried up with some towels and that's not enough. You're going to have mold and mildew and make a bad situation even worse. Yeah. Okay. And so really we need to get guys in there to probably have to cut the walls. They have water sensors. They go and see where it's wet, cut the walls and expose the frame and then get dryers in there and dry that up. Okay. And the quicker we can get on it means the less chance of having mold and mildew. Okay. And mildew, that smelling stuff is really, really bad. So we have to take care of it. So, and then get the insurance. Now, here's another thing that I do differently is that we make sure that the renters have renter's insurance. That's so important. It is in this case here because, You get the landlord policy insurance adjuster out there. Then I hand the information for the renter's insurance, and they smile because now they're going to go after the tenant's renter's insurance and make a claim. So they take care of the whole thing, and so the insurance policy is going to handle a good part of that.
Yeah.
But that's the way it's done. Now a lot don't know that to do it that way, and so if you just let it go, it's going to cost you more money, or you get a tenant there may get sick, and now it's going to cost even more money. This doesn't get cheaper.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's see what else we got. Security deposit counting. This one's really, really important because every tenant wants their money back and every owner wants the security deposit. And there's a happy medium. And if you look at a lot of property managers, we ran into this in my last company, is where you get the ones is where you made charges to the tenant security deposit, and now they take it out on you and say, well, how terrible you are with a 1 review on Google and Yelp, okay? So we came up with a way to overcome this, and what I do now is anything that we're going to charge, I send it to the tenant, and I say, okay, this is what we're looking at charges, nothing's etched in stones, it's not signed, what do you dispute? And
That's
you'll
good.
find, oh, it works so well because you'll catch the 1%ers that do have a complaint, but 99% say, yeah, it's fair, go ahead. Okay, I just want my check, whatever it is. Okay,
yeah. They're involved in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the ones that are disputing it, usually it comes down to $50 to $100.
Yeah.
So why are we fighting over $50, $100? I go give with the owners, it's over $50. You want to let them go? And he says, yeah. And so okay, you win this one. And of course, now I do a little extra step. Is okay, you know, we've taken care of you. I need you to do me a favor. What's that? Can you give me a 5-star review?
Yeah.
And they'll do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well,
So,
yeah.
Because someone listened.
At the end of the day, it's creating a win-win for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Mark, you have a lot of information, a lot of services that you provide. If people want to talk to you and find out more, even just find out, you know, get this list of services that you provide from you, and so that they can see and review, talk to you, interview you to manage their property, or even if they're looking to purchase a property and they want a review of what kind of rent it's going to get, what kind of information they're going to be looking at to get things started. How do they reach you and how can they get that ball rolling?
Well, you have my cell number on the screen, so that's a good place to start. You can go to my website, which is just above my number. So which is, everybody says, it always sounds to them like it's D, but it's not the letter D, it's the, T-H-E, the word the, Rentallister with 2 L's in between, LV.com, LV like Las Vegas, the Rentallister, LV.com. And you can see all kinds of information for owners, the stuff that we do, the whole laundry list that I hardly even touched here. You can see all those things. Plus, we have guarantees there as well. So it's a great place to see what we do and see how we're different from the competition. And also you can see our rental properties and see what we were saying about our rental properties, the pictures and the aggressive marketing that we do to get those properties rented out, plus all the information, the screening requirements. That one's really important. It's important on a fair housing because fair housing says you got to treat everybody the same. So if I can show here's what our screening requirements are to each and every person, then they know upfront what it is, and there's no surprises.
Yes, and that is so important too, screening requirements. I have so many times that people will reach out to me, they're looking for a rental, and they're just like, well, what are they going to require? Everybody's different. So having it there, what your requirements are, is so valuable to even the people that are looking to apply, because if they have a 680 credit score and you're looking for a 750, you know, then they know there's no point in even applying for that one, which, you know, there's definitely, to have those requirements there, it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I know there's so much more information that you have to share that we couldn't cover. So I definitely encourage you guys to reach out to Mark. If you're looking to make some money on investing in real estate and getting an investment property, do the right thing, hire a property manager, talk to Mark about what your options are and what he can do to make this easier on you and protect your investment, because overall that's what's happening. And if you're watching our show, like, comment, share, tell your friends about it. Look at our past episodes. If you guys have not been able to go on our website and check out our past episodes, we have a website now. It is realtycheck.vegas. And you can go on there. You can see all of the past episodes. We've talked about things like Airbnb and the legalization that's coming here to Las Vegas. We've talked about appraisal issues. We've talked about home inspections. We talk about so many things related to real estate. Check out our episodes. Call me if you have questions, 702-308-2878, and keep tuning in every Thursday. Have a wonderful day. See you guys next week.